News Radio 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert, and so glad that you are joining me on this Sunday night. Randy Carter is also joining me. He is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. He's also affiliated with No More Turnpikes and Pike Off OTA, and he checks in with me about once a month to tell us about what is happening with the Oklahoma Transportation Authority and the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, and I think I maybe just gave them new names, Randy. Welcome to 1000 KTOK.
Yes, it is the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. The transportation is ODOT, Oklahoma Department of Transportation, but yes, that's easy to get confused. It's always a mouthful for me, so
well,
I have to stop and think.
In other Oklahoma government entities, they're taking the word department out. So I don't know if this one has, but the others are. They wouldn't be OTA or it'd be OTO. I don't know what it'd be. Anyway, let's talk about turnpikes. And I want to talk to you because I've got something up my craw. I hear these ads every day, or I see them on television, or if you listen to OU football, you hear these ads. The safest, least expensive way to drive in Oklahoma. Now, we know that's not true. And yet...
Well, yes. Yes, they keep saying it over and over again, don't they?
And they just passed, the Turnpike Authority just announced to the world that all turnpikes in Oklahoma are going to go cashless.
Yes, that is their intent. And interestingly enough, we can talk a little bit more about that later, but all of their cashlessness, they're only collecting about 50% of those tolls.
Because if you have a trailer hooked on to your car, it covers the tag. If you have a paper tag, or if you have any kind of Indian Nation tag, they can't charge you.
Well, that is part of the problem, but also part of it is what they do is they send you a bill. And if people don't respond, then they don't get paid. And their collections, like I said, for all reasons, with the cashless is about 50% is what they're saying in their at their authority meetings. So they've gone from collecting tolls as people drive through and stop. That now is 50% of what that amount used to be.
Well, and yet, but what the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, that's just a minor part. You all have a real point about what is going on with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. So let me let you lay this out. Let's bring everybody up to speed. Gosh, it will be how many years now? Will it be?
It'll be 2 years. Yeah, 2 years in February when they announced the access program. It was February of 2021 when they announced, 22. Excuse me, it's running together in my mind too. But yes, it'll be coming on 2 years.
And you're saying access? I slip and go excess. Oh, you mean Access Oklahoma? The plan to add 3 new turnpikes through Cleveland County alone.
Well, I believe part of that is in. It's over by Newcastle. Is that McLean County?
McLean is
I'd have
Paul's
to look on the
Valley,
map.
Yeah. But I mean, but parts of 3 turnpikes go through Cleveland County.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, the Indian Hills, which they're calling the East-West Connector, the Tri-City, which comes out of is projected to come out of Newcastle and connect to this east-west connector that's going to basically follow Indian Hills Road, and that's a lot of it's the border between Norman and Moore, and then the southern extension is supposed to connect from the Kickapoo down to Purcell, the Kickapoo at I-40 down to Purcell. So, and there's a little discrepancy. At one point, they were calling it the east-west connector going all the way to the Kickapoo, and then they changed it to the southern. It's a moving target. So
so it may not go. It may not go all the way to the Kickapoo anymore.
No, it'll go all the way to Kickapoo. But at one point, they were calling it the part that connected to the Kickapoo, the east-west connector, and then they've also been calling it the southern extension. So it's a matter of semantics, I suppose, more than anything. No, they definitely will intend. They definitely intend to go to the Kickapoo. I mean, I can't speak for them, but that's the way it looks to me. Is what they're trying to do.
Well, and for people that haven't been following this as much as I have, and certainly as much as you have, why do we care about this?
Well, there's lots of reasons that we care about this, and I think the number one reason that we care about this is because the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority now has 11 turnpikes in the state. Only 3 of those particular turnpikes make enough money to pay their maintenance and operation, and the other, well, it's 3.5. They only make enough money to pay for themselves or to cover their own expenses, and they are covering all the expenses of the other turnpikes that can't maintain their own upkeep. And so therefore, we think that one of the main reasons that they are projecting these 3 new turnpikes is to create the perception of more revenue coming in so they can generate bonds and use those bonds to pay off the bonds that they can't pay off now from the regular operations. So I've had some legislators use the word Ponzi scheme when we've been talking to them about what we perceive to be going on. So it's they're using the excuse of traffic and safety. At one point, they were saying that the southern extension was going to be a route to aid traffic traveling from Dallas to the Tulsa area, which all the Tulsa traffic from Dallas goes up Highway 69, which goes through Atoka and Muskogee and McAllister in that area. So they've changed their story numerous times from the beginning as we have brought out different issues that we think are pertinent to the situation. But right now they seem to be perceived on congestion and safety. And of course, we're finding out that some of those safety issues that they're talking about are not things that would be corrected by more roads. Most of the accidents and problems on the highways are caused by impaired driving, and no amount of new roads would keep impaired people from causing accidents. So
they years ago, the taxpayers, I think, were asleep, and they agreed to what is called cross pledging, isn't it? Where you take money from one turnpike and you put it toward another turnpike. And that was supposed to make everybody happy and equal and all that. Doesn't this make Oklahoma have more turnpike miles than any other state per capita or per kind of thing?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. I don't have those figures in front of me right now, but Oklahoma has I believe it is the most miles per capita of any state in the union. I believe that only Florida, I believe it's Florida that only has more miles of turnpike than Oklahoma, but their population is tremendously bigger than Oklahoma's.
So the problem with this thing is the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority does not know how to manage its money. They're making claims that what they're going to do is going to make everybody a lot safer, and it's really the way they have informed the people that will be affected is they did not inform them until you read it in the paper. Isn't that right? Or you heard it on the radio?
Yeah, we heard it in the media. Yeah, the radio. It was social media. People found it all kinds of different ways, but it was nobody ever came and knocked on my door or gave me a phone call and said that this is where the road was coming. Now, you bring up an interesting point here too, because at this point, the southern extension, as they had originally proclaimed it to be, was going to have to cross over the Federal Bureau of Reclamation land, which is Lake Thunderbird. The Federal Bureau of Reclamation owns Lake Thunderbird, and it's operated by the Central Oklahoma Master Conservancy District, and that is to provide water to Norman, Del City, and Midwest City. But when they applied to cross the fee title land of Lake Thunderbird, the Bureau of Reclamation denied that application, and which means that if they want to avoid the fee title land and still continue with the southern extension, they would have to move the southern extension at least 3/4 of a mile west of where it is now projected to be, which brings in a whole new group of people who would be equally as surprised when they find out that it may be coming down their neighborhood. So yeah, the route is still up in the air as far as we know and are concerned. They haven't made any kind of announcements about a new route. So
Well, and
there's
Indian Hills Road itself for that east-west connector is built up. I mean, there are neighborhoods and everything that if you drive Indian Hills Road, it's
yes.
not out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, and there's even more projected, surprise, surprise, there's even more projected development along the Indian Hills route that's west of I-35. I believe that 2 or 3 developers have applied for whatever you have to apply for to put in a subdivision. That's been in the paper and on the news here in Norman. So we know that's going on. So, but in fact, there's even a cemetery that's very close to where they're proposed a major.
It is right
cemetery.
on that route. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That cemetery. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to take a break, but when we come back, I need you to put all of this in perspective for us, and then tell us about the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, because to borrow an old expression, you guys didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I don't think the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority anticipated the level of intelligence, whether it be engineering or law or neighborhood associations or whatever. And I want you to kind of catch us up in that regard. I'm talking to Randy Carter. He is the Director of Strategic Communications for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. They, as a group, are fighting a program called Access Oklahoma that just through Cleveland County will have 3 different parts of a turnpike in their neighborhoods, in their places of life, I'll say it that way. And they built out there to live in nature, and now Oklahoma's threatening to put a turnpike through it. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. You find your dream property, you build on it, you're living there happily ever after, and then one day you hear in the media, oh, they're going to put a turnpike through it. What do? Well, in the past, around the state, other people have just said, okay, buy my property on it. But not so with the people of Norman and Cleveland County. They are looking at this, and this is the second time the people of Cleveland County have risen up and said, we don't need a turnpike through our watershed. Lake Thunderbird is a stressed, I can't remember the exact word, Randy Carter, it's a stressed watershed or something like that. Distressed,
yeah,
yes.
It's a distressed, it's projected at about 50% of its life.
And so, and it, as you said before, it provides water for Norman, Dale City, Midwest City. So, I mean, it's a major thing. And
yes.
The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority got together and drew lines on a map, and then, without notifying any of the people involved with it, they announce a project called Access Oklahoma, and they just expect people are going to roll over and say, yes, take my paradise. Not so. And I'm so proud that I know Randy Carter, and I am proud of Amy Serrato. I am proud of Stan Ward. I am proud of your entire group, which has come together. And Randy, if I may say this, you mentioned that because of this reclamation denial, the Federal Bureau of Reclamation denial, that it's going to maybe move it 3/4 of the west. But you all don't look at it like, oops, it's me and now, it's somebody else's problem. You all are banding together to make a statement that you don't want this turnpike, and Oklahoma doesn't need this turnpike. So let me get out of your way and let you make the case. But I do want you to bring up, because what made me call you was I read about how the members of the board, one of the members of the board of the Turnpike Authority, his term had expired, but he continued to vote as if he were for it, even though he is not an official board member. Now, when you see things like that, do you cheer? Do you throw your arms up and go, here's just another reason? How does the Oklahoma for Responsible Transportation respond to that?
Well, you brought up an interesting subject here. This is right at the forefront of what we're doing. And interestingly enough, one of our big successes last spring was that we were able to help push House Bill 2263 through the House and the Senate, and also to override the governor's veto to get the bill passed. And what the bill did is it changed the ability of the governor to make appointments to the Turnpike Authority. Before this bill was passed, the governor had all 6 of the appointments to the Turnpike Authority. After the bill took effect, November 1, the governor keeps 2 of the appointments. The Speaker of the House gets 2, and the President Pro Tem of the Senate gets 2. And interestingly enough, July 1st, District 6, the seat occupied by John Tisworth from the McAllister area, that seat expired. His appointment expired. He filled an unexpired term that the governor appointed him to. And I find it quite ironic that for the governor to go to the trouble to veto this bill and make a statement about it, he could have reappointed Mr. Tisworth, or could have made another appointment, somebody else, to fill that district seat's position. But instead, nothing happened. No appointment, no nothing. Mr. Tisworth continued to come to every meeting from July 1 on, clear through the December meeting of the Turnpike Authority, and continued to vote on millions and millions of dollars of projects and payments and all sorts of things. Now, November 1, that seat is now the responsibility of the President Pro Tem of the Senate to make that appointment. So if the governor was so dead set on not losing the appointments to the Turnpike Authority, why in the world did he not take advantage of that opportunity to reappoint Mr. Tisworth, or to appoint somebody else when he still had that under his realm to do so? And actually, we're quite pleased. We are actually trying to work with the President Pro Tem to submit some names to that we think would be good appointments to that District 6 seat. And hopefully we can gain some concessions or some influence on the Turnpike Authority with that seat.
Well, it just seems like they are irresponsible and sloppy, if I can say that.
It seems to me that they were asleep at the wheel. If it was so important that the governor keep all those appointments, why did he not go ahead and do that when he had the opportunity to? So
does it make mute any of the things he voted for, or not?
Well, we plan to ask the Attorney General that should all those votes be voided as a result of his term expires. I mean, is that legal that he continues to vote on those things? And, it's just kind of an example of to me, of how the Turnpike Authority runs things. They kind of just do whatever they please, whenever they please. That brings...
Yeah, any idea when the audit of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority will be presented?
No, we do know that Cindy Bird, the state auditor, is working on it. Gettner Drummond, the Attorney General, is people may not remember, Gwin, but he back in the
We will have to use that as a cliffhanger. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. We'll pick it up right there with Randy Carter. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. Because if you've driven I-35 or I-40 in any direction, you know that they're in pretty bad shape. So why are we looking into building more turnpikes when in the state of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Department of Transportation and the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority are actually run or headed by the same person? Randy Carter joins me. He is the Strategic Communication Director for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. If you would like to know more about what we're talking about, they run a great website for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. They also have Facebook pages, No More Turnpikes, and they have Pike Off OTA. So, Randy, we have about 15 more minutes. So tell me, what is pending in your mind? What is the strategy of the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation? We were talking about the audit. Do we know where that is?
It has been started. I believe Cindy Bird has assigned. Again, don't hold me to this exact number. I believe she's assigned 3.5 people to be working on that. Typically, audits, once they get going, they're very quiet. They don't leak anything out. They probably will not make any kind of statement till it's completely done. They have not started any of the interview phase of the audit as we understand it. That means they're still doing research and working with documents, and they are working on it. We're well aware of. We just don't know where it stands at this point. It would sure be nice if something might come out before the legislature reconvenes. We are working on a number of bills to bring more transparency and more accountability to the Turnpike Authority that we hope to get passed, as we were successful passing House Bill 2263 last spring, which we talked about earlier. But we're concerned, and we're concerned about the way this appointment didn't get taken care of back in July. But one of the interesting things that I think that the Turnpike Authority, just one example of our questioning the way they run things and the way they make the choices that they do. In 2023, the OTA budgeted, this is astonishing, but they budgeted $14 million for postage.
Postage?
For postage, yes, for no particular clear reason. In 2024, they are projecting for their budget, they've increased that amount to $17 million. And that's 10% more than the total operations and maintenance budget for the year.
And is that because they're going cashless and it's the plate pay? So you get it in the mail and then you mail it back?
Well, but what's interesting about that is they contract with a company named Questmark to handle all the plate pay invoices, and the payments to Questmark include postage. They showed that in 23 they paid $6.7 million to Questmark. Now, our people reviewed their payment registers for 2023, and they only show that they paid $100,000 for postage.
Huh.
That's I mean, they budgeted for $14 million, yet they only spent $100,000.
So where's the rest of it going? I'm not going to do the hiring.
I don't know. Is that sloppy accounting? Who knows what's going on?
I'm looking forward to this audit, aren't you?
It should be quite interesting. I mean, and I mean, it's concerning too that the board would even approve these kind of documents and requests without questioning them or reviewing them. So we would like to gain more oversight and more accountability over the Turnpike Authority and the staff and the people that are involved in what's going on. And I do have an announcement. It's Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation is now Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation Foundation, and we are approved by the IRS as a 501c3. Which means any contributions made to this organization are tax deductible. So I would encourage anybody that might be interested to helping our cause. You can go on either Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation.com or pikeoffota.com and find our mailing address. And we would greatly appreciate a check to help us do more outreach and more education. To see if we can't put a stop to some of this crazy behavior going on at the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. They're they're tremendously unpopular with the citizens of Oklahoma. Recently, there was an opinion survey, and only 50% of the people surveyed, over 50% of the people surveyed had a low opinion of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. Yet they have spent, a review shows they spent about $850,000 on advertising and public relations alone. In 2020 and 21 and 22, they spent over $2 million.
Well, I don't think people are as stupid as maybe sometimes ad campaigns think they are. Let me say it that way. That, sure, it's great that they advertise on OU football, but what they're saying, why OU football? Why would you do, we know why. Anyway.
Well, I'm quite pleased that we were successful as we were last spring in getting the legislature to pass a bill that helped us to hopefully gain more accountability and over the Turnpike Authority. We're very pleased that we were somewhat involved in encouraging the Attorney General to call for this investigative audit. So, they used to say you can't fight City Hall, but I think we've proven that you can. We're a small but vocal group, and small. We have like over 10,000 people that are on our No More Turnpikes page that follow us on a regular basis. So I don't know how small that is.
10,000. That's wonderful. Yes,
I believe that's the latest number I heard. So. It is,
and now
well
you've
into
got
the
your
thousands.
501c3 foundation that people could make tax donations to you to fight another turnpike, right?
Tax deductible, yes, absolutely. We are still fighting. We are we've been in contact with the Bureau of Reclamation, trying to make sure that that there is no way they can go on that fee title land. That's just one of the cogs in the wheel that we're working on. But we've got a number of bills that we're working on with both state representatives and state senators, hopefully to get some things passed. They're not in final form yet, so I really am not confident to let you know exactly what they are, because we don't know exact details of what they are, but they will go to great lengths to try to get this Turnpike Authority under control. I'm sure you remember the recent Supreme Court ruling, which basically gave the Turnpike Authority free rein. The legislature has really no control over what the Turnpike Authority does, and that's one of the things that we are looking to possibly change in the next legislative session. But they basically said the Turnpike Authority can go anywhere they want, anytime they want, which is not in the actual originating legislation that authorized the Turnpike Authority in the first place.
What do they base that on? Why did they change that? Why did the Supreme Court rule that?
They didn't change it. They just ruled against. They ruled against our points. None of the especially the Southern Extension was nowhere authorized by the state legislature, and that's one of the stipulations in the originating legislation, or the authorizing legislation of the Turnpike Authority, is that all turnpike routes have to be approved by the legislature. And they were not. But basically they just voided the law is what they did. So
Randy Carter is with the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, Pike Off OTA, or No More Turnpikes, and make a donation and help us get a hold of this. Randy, I thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays to you.